Welcome to Dolphin Dive Daily, your go-to spot for everything Miami Dolphins. If you bleed aqua and orange, hit that subscribe button and join the pod. Nobody was surprised when Tyreek Hill wasn't announced as one of the Miami Dolphins captains for the 2025 season on Monday. And yet, in typical Hill fashion, his absence from the captaincy list has only fueled conversation about his commitment, both to his team and to himself. Last season ended on a note that left fans, coaches, and teammates questioning his focus, with some of his comments and actions sparking tension throughout the locker room. Hill himself openly admitted that he didn't deserve to wear a C on his jersey anymore, a rare moment of self-awareness from a player often defined by his electric performance on the field rather than his off-field statements. Despite the optics, the Dolphins' leadership still needs their star receiver to fully buy into the team culture if they are to contend for a playoff spot. Coach Mike McDaniel, always measured in his assessments, indicated that Hill has shown encouraging signs of growth and engagement, particularly in practices where he's been gradually working back from an oblique injury. The Dolphins' medical staff and coaching team have carefully structured Hill's recovery, splitting his participation across practice periods to ensure that he returns healthy and fully prepared for the opening clash against the Colts. Beyond the physical recovery, this structured approach gives Hill the chance to rebuild trust with teammates and demonstrate a renewed dedication that aligns with the team's broader culture goals. McDaniel's comments suggest that leadership in Miami is now measured not just by on-field excellence, but by a player's ability to invest in the team's success collectively, and Hill seems to be taking that message seriously. With the eyes of the media and the league watching closely, Hill's journey this offseason has been as much about mindset and accountability as it has been about athletic rehabilitation. The Dolphins' broader locker room environment, often criticized for inconsistency and a lack of discipline, appears to be responding positively to Hill's efforts, signaling potential shifts in both team dynamics and leadership expectations moving into 2025. One of the most closely scrutinized storylines of Miami's preseason has been the evolving relationship between Tyreek Hill and quarterback Tua Tagovailoa, a dynamic that previously drew headlines for all the wrong reasons. Hill's end-of-season comments last year created tension not just between him and Tua, but also cast a shadow over his rapport with the broader roster, raising questions about his ability to function as a unifying presence on the team. The quarterback himself acknowledged the strain caused by Hill's past actions, openly reflecting on the challenges of repairing trust and restoring team chemistry. According to McDaniel, however, there have been visible improvements during training camp, with Hill actively working to re-establish those bonds and demonstrate a willingness to meet the team's new standards. The coach highlighted that practices now carry a level of intensity and focus akin to regular season games, which has helped accelerate the development of stronger interpersonal connections among players. Hill's engagement is not limited to star teammates. He has been proactive in communicating with rookies, new offensive linemen, and defensive players, ensuring that everyone understands expectations and feels valued within the team framework. McDaniel emphasized that this heightened sense of connectivity is crucial in a sport where success hinges on 11 individuals synchronizing their efforts toward a single objective, and Hill's renewed commitment appears to be facilitating that alignment. Through structured drills, collaborative exercises, and open dialogue, Hill is beginning to demonstrate that his leadership extends beyond his statistics, showing that he recognizes the importance of fostering trust and accountability among teammates. This conscious effort to repair relationships signals a maturation in Hill's approach, illustrating that he understands the broader responsibilities of being a veteran presence in the Dolphins' locker room. While the full impact of these changes remains to be seen, early indicators suggest that Hill's commitment to improving both his personal conduct and his relationships with teammates could set a positive precedent for Miami's culture in the 2025 season. Tyreek Hill's path back to team trust has been further complicated by the oblique injury he suffered during training camp, an obstacle that has forced him to balance physical rehabilitation with the need to rebuild his reputation within the Dolphins' locker room. The coaching staff has carefully managed his workload, ensuring he participates in specific practice periods without risking setbacks that could jeopardize his availability for Week 1 against the Colts. Hill's ability to adapt to this structured regimen reflects both discipline and a recognition that his presence on the field carries significant weight for the team's overall performance. By engaging in targeted drills and recovery sessions, Hill not only maintains his physical readiness, but also demonstrates accountability and ownership over his role within the offense. McDaniel's public statements underscore that this process is about more than conditioning. It is a visible sign to teammates that Hill is committed to collective success rather than individual accolades. The quarterback-receiver dynamic with Tua has been central to this narrative, as Hill's consistent communication during rehab sessions mirrors the way Tua approached his own injury recoveries last season. This kind of parallel sets a standard for preparation, signaling that excellence is achieved through consistent engagement, meticulous attention to detail, and respect for the team's shared goals. The Dolphins' front office and coaching staff have noted the positive ripple effect, suggesting that Hill's renewed investment may be influencing younger players and creating a culture where accountability is valued. Observers have commented on Hill's demeanor in the locker room, noting that he appears more reflective and deliberate in his interactions, a shift that contrasts sharply with the brash persona he sometimes displayed last season. Hill's approach to this injury period reflects a broader evolution in his professional mindset, blending athletic intensity with leadership responsibility, signaling to fans and critics alike that he is taking his second chance seriously. By addressing both physical limitations and relational repair simultaneously, Hill positions himself as a model of how elite athletes can navigate adversity while contributing meaningfully to team cohesion, a narrative that may shape perceptions of him well beyond the confines of Miami's training camp. The Miami Dolphins' focus on team culture has placed players like Tyreek Hill under intense scrutiny, but it has also provided an opportunity for genuine transformation and leadership development. Last season, several Dolphins were repeatedly fined for tardiness and off-field issues, creating a perception of a team lacking discipline and structure, with Hill often singled out as emblematic of these challenges. This offseason, McDaniel has emphasized that leadership is no longer measured solely by performance metrics, but by players' investment in team cohesion and daily execution of standards. Hill's efforts to participate fully in practice drills, communicate effectively with teammates, and demonstrate consistent engagement during his rehabilitation are tangible examples of this cultural shift. By integrating himself into both veteran and rookie player routines, Hill is modeling the behaviors the coaching staff wants to instill across the roster. McDaniel highlighted that the standard now involves treating every practice as meaningful, mirroring the intensity and accountability of a game situation, and Hill's conduct exemplifies this philosophy. These deliberate actions convey a message to the rest of the locker room. Individual success is meaningless without collective responsibility. Observers have noted subtle but significant changes in team morale and communication patterns, suggesting that Hill's renewed commitment may be catalyzing wider behavioral improvements. While fans naturally focus on statistics and highlight reels, Hill's impact off the field may ultimately define his contribution to the Dolphins' 2025 campaign. By emphasizing preparation, accountability, and relational growth, Hill is navigating a path that balances personal redemption with team-oriented leadership, an evolution that could have lasting implications for the organization. In essence, the Dolphins are not just rehabilitating a player. They are shaping a model of leadership that could redefine the culture in Miami for years to come. The broader narrative around Tyreek Hill's commitment also touches on the delicate balance between personal excellence and team dependency, a theme that resonates in every professional sports context, but carries unique weight in Miami's locker room. Hill, known for his game-breaking speed and explosive playmaking ability, has historically drawn attention for individual performance, sometimes overshadowing collective considerations. This season, however, the spotlight has shifted toward his ability to harmonize personal talent with team objectives, particularly in his collaboration with Tua and other offensive assets. The coaching staff has structured practices to reinforce situational awareness, timing, and interpersonal communication, placing Hill in contexts where his decision-making impacts not just himself, but the performance of 11 interconnected players. Such exercises are critical in a sport where precision, trust, and synchronization define outcomes, and Hill's active participation underscores his acknowledgement of these principles. McDaniel's statements suggest that leadership is demonstrated through consistent engagement, responsiveness to feedback, and support of teammates' development, traits Hill has begun to exemplify during camp sessions. This recalibration is also about narrative control. For Hill, it's a chance to redefine his legacy not only as an elite athlete, but as a responsible team member whose contributions extend beyond highlight reels. The Dolphins' coaching staff appears cautiously optimistic, noting that Hill's behavioral patterns and communication efforts indicate authentic investment rather than superficial compliance. If sustained, this approach could foster a more cohesive locker room environment, where high expectations are met with accountability and mutual support. Ultimately, the success of this shift hinges on Hill's ability to navigate adversity during the season while maintaining focus on both his individual performance and his role in collective achievement. His commitment is now being measured in subtler, more meaningful ways, and these early indicators suggest a trajectory that blends skill with leadership in a way that could redefine Miami's offensive identity. Tyreek Hill's transformation this offseason has been as much psychological as physical, reflecting an evolving understanding of what it means to be a professional athlete in a team sport context. Following last season's controversies, Hill appears to have embraced a mindset centered on accountability, communication, and empathy, recognizing that his influence extends beyond catching passes and scoring touchdowns. The Dolphins' leadership has framed this evolution as a model for younger players, demonstrating how to reconcile personal ambitions with team cohesion. By actively participating in drills, engaging with Tua, and maintaining a consistent presence during rehabilitation, Hill is signaling a level of commitment that aligns with McDaniel's vision of leadership through investment and connection. This process also allows Hill to rebuild credibility that had eroded, showing teammates that his dedication is authentic rather than performative. Observers within the Dolphins organization have highlighted improvements in locker room interactions, noting that Hill now seeks feedback, offers encouragement, and collaborates across positional lines in ways that were not as visible last year. This shift in behavior not only strengthens the offense, but fosters an environment where accountability and mutual respect become core values, potentially mitigating the risk of past conflicts resurfacing. Hill's renewed engagement has ripple effects on both rookie development and veteran expectations, illustrating that elite talent can be a catalyst for cultural enhancement when guided by conscious effort and reflection. By integrating mental preparation with physical readiness, Hill demonstrates a holistic approach to professional excellence that resonates with both teammates and fans, and positions him as a figure capable of shaping Miami's identity on and off the field. The Dolphins' coaching staff has consistently emphasized that team success is contingent on unity, preparation, and resilience, principles that have defined the framework within which Tyreek Hill is currently operating. Hill's approach this offseason reflects an understanding that accountability extends beyond performance metrics, encompassing consistency, attitude, and responsiveness to team dynamics. McDaniel has underscored that Hill's rehabilitation from his oblique injury is being conducted with intentionality, mirroring the preparation standards set by Tua following prior injuries. This alignment between star players sets a benchmark for the entire roster, demonstrating that elite athletes prioritize both recovery and team readiness. Hill's daily engagement, structured practice participation, and proactive communication serve as practical examples of this philosophy in action, signaling to teammates that leadership is demonstrated through sustained effort and relational investment. These behaviors contrast sharply with last season's narratives, wherein disciplinary issues and miscommunications occasionally overshadowed on-field achievements. By taking ownership of his job and emphasizing connection with his peers, Hill contributes to a culture that values shared responsibility and measured growth. Analysts and commentators have noted that this approach could significantly influence Miami's performance in 2025, particularly in high-pressure scenarios where trust and coordination are essential. The broader implication is that Hill's renewed commitment may serve as a catalyst for long-term cultural transformation, establishing norms that extend well beyond a single season. Through this lens, Hill's role transcends athletic execution, positioning him as a critical figure in shaping both outcomes and organizational identity. underscoring the idea that leadership in sports is as much about character as it is about talent. The question of whether this new version of Tyreek Hill will maintain his elevated engagement throughout the 2025 season remains open, but early indicators are promising. Hill has demonstrated a consistent willingness to participate fully in practice, communicate openly with Tua and other teammates, and adhere to the team's evolving standards of accountability. These behaviors suggest an alignment with the Dolphins' cultural objectives, which prioritize connectivity, consistency, and situational awareness. Coaches and staff have praised Hill's efforts, noting that his proactive engagement during rehabilitation and structured practice periods reflects a commitment to team-first principles. While it is impossible to predict how the season will unfold, Hill's current trajectory suggests a readiness to navigate adversity while maintaining focus on both personal performance and collective success. Analysts have emphasized that elite athletes often face challenges in sustaining behavioral changes over a full season, particularly when confronted with pressure, injuries, or public scrutiny. Hill's ability to balance these demands will be critical in determining whether his offseason improvements translate into measurable success on the field. Observers also point to the psychological impact of his renewed engagement, noting that a committed, communicative Hill can serve as a stabilizing presence for the locker room and a model for younger players learning the nuances of professional responsibility. Ultimately, the Dolphins' fortunes in 2025 may hinge as much on Hill's consistency and leadership as on game day execution, making his personal growth a key storyline for the franchise. As Tyreek Hill continues to reintegrate fully into Miami's offensive schemes, his focus on preparation, communication, and team cohesion becomes increasingly apparent, suggesting a deliberate shift in his professional priorities. Hill's rehabilitation schedule, coupled with his interactions with Tua and other offensive players, indicates a recognition that sustainable success requires more than individual talent. It demands strategic alignment and collaborative effort. McDaniel has highlighted the importance of daily engagement and meaningful practice, emphasizing that the team's new culture is grounded in accountability and shared responsibility. Hill's adherence to these principles underscores both maturity and adaptability, traits that enhance his value beyond measurable athletic performance. By committing to consistent, purposeful involvement, Hill not only safeguards his physical readiness, but also strengthens trust within the locker room, fostering a climate where every player understands their role and contribution to collective outcomes. Analysts have observed that such behavior can have cascading effects, improving communication, reducing errors, and enhancing resilience in high-pressure situations. Hill's renewed approach also signals to fans and the media that he is actively working to reshape perceptions of his character and reliability, leveraging his influence to positively impact both morale and team culture. In a league where narratives can define legacies as much as statistics, Hill's efforts position him to leave a lasting imprint on Miami's organizational identity. By demonstrating that elite performance and team commitment are not mutually exclusive, Hill sets a precedent for how top-tier athletes can lead through both example and action, illustrating a holistic vision of professionalism that transcends the scoreboard. Tyreek Hill's evolution this offseason can be understood as part of a broader effort to recalibrate Miami's locker room culture, a process that reflects lessons learned from past missteps and strategic coaching interventions. Last season, the Dolphins faced criticism for perceived lax discipline and inconsistent leadership, with Hill often cited as emblematic of these challenges due to his high-profile antics and candid commentary. In 2025, the emphasis has shifted toward daily accountability, relational investment, and structured preparation, with Hill actively participating in exercises designed to reinforce these standards. His engagement with teammates of varying experience levels, from rookies to seasoned veterans, demonstrates an awareness that leadership extends beyond positional excellence, encompassing mentorship, communication, and consistency. McDaniel's statements suggest that Hill's visible growth is influencing the broader roster, fostering cohesion and elevating expectations for personal responsibility across the team. By participating fully in practice while managing his oblique injury, Hill models a dual commitment to physical readiness and relational repair, signaling to both teammates and the organization that he values collective success. This approach has implications for team performance, as increased connectivity and shared accountability can reduce errors, enhance strategic execution, and build resilience during high-pressure moments. Beyond immediate outcomes, Hill's behavioral evolution serves as a tangible example of how elite athletes can leverage self-awareness, discipline, and empathy to contribute meaningfully to team culture. In this sense, Hill's off-season narrative is as much about character development as athletic preparation, illustrating the multifaceted nature of leadership in professional sports and setting the stage for a season defined by both performance and professionalism. The Miami Dolphins narrative surrounding Tyreek Hill underscores a broader understanding of leadership, accountability, and cultural investment in professional sports, emphasizing that personal talent alone is insufficient for sustained success. Hill's proactive engagement during practices, adherence to structured rehabilitation, and commitment to relational growth with teammates represent a deliberate effort to align individual excellence with collective objectives. McDaniel has highlighted that such investment fosters connectivity, reduces miscommunications, and creates a standard where every practice and interaction carries significance, illustrating the interdependence inherent in football. Hill's transformation also provides a roadmap for other players, demonstrating that elite athletes can influence team culture positively when they integrate self-awareness with consistent effort. Observers have noted that Hill's communication with both veterans and newcomers strengthens cohesion, reinforces accountability, and enhances the overall locker room dynamic. The emphasis on relationship repair, particularly with Tua, signals a maturation that blends athletic skill with social intelligence, fostering an environment where collaboration and mutual respect drive success. Analysts have suggested that if Hill maintains this trajectory, his impact could extend beyond individual performance, shaping Miami's identity and expectations for leadership in measurable ways. Ultimately, Hill's journey illustrates that professional growth involves balancing talent, responsibility, and team investment, reinforcing the notion that leadership is cultivated through deliberate action, reflection, and continuous commitment. The Dolphins, and fans alike, are watching closely, but the early signs suggest that Hill's reinvigorated approach has the potential to redefine both his legacy and the team's culture as the 2025 season unfolds. Tyreek Hill's ongoing journey of recommitment this offseason serves as a compelling case study in professional accountability and resilience, highlighting the multifaceted role elite athletes play in shaping team dynamics. His deliberate participation in practice, transparent communication with Tua and other teammates, and disciplined approach to rehabilitation from his oblique injury demonstrate an understanding that leadership is inseparable from consistent effort, reliability, and relational engagement. McDaniel's emphasis on meaningful practice and interconnectedness resonates through Hill's actions, suggesting a conscious alignment with broader team objectives rather than a sole focus on personal achievement. Observers within the organization have reported tangible improvements in locker room chemistry, noting that Hill's renewed engagement has helped foster trust, collaboration, and a shared sense of purpose among players. The narrative surrounding Hill is therefore not merely about individual performance or injury recovery. It is about establishing a standard for professionalism and accountability within a team context, offering a template for both peers and younger athletes. As the 2025 season approaches, questions remain regarding the sustainability of these changes, especially under pressure or in the face of adversity. Yet Hill's proactive measures, coupled with visible growth in communication and relational investment, indicate a strong likelihood that he will meet these challenges with consistency and maturity. In essence, Hill's off-season transformation provides insight into how elite talent can evolve beyond personal accolades to embody leadership that shapes culture, performance, and organizational identity in profound ways, making his story one of redemption, growth, and the pursuit of excellence on and off the field. Still with us? Then show some love. Hit that like button and let us know in the comments. What's your take on the Fins this week? The rumor mill is absolutely buzzing. And if it turns out to be true, the Miami Dolphins have just made a move that could completely reshape the defensive landscape of the NFL. Word on the street is that Shaquem Alfonso Griffin, the linebacker whose story has inspired millions, is set to return to the field under the Dolphins banner. Fans who have followed Griffin's journey know that this isn't just any player signing. This is about a player who has consistently defied expectations, who has faced life-altering challenges and turned them into motivation. Imagine the headlines. Imagine the impact, the energy that Griffin could bring to Miami. And now there's chatter, strong chatter, that the Dolphins are not just interested. They're committed to reshaping their defense around his unique combination of speed, intelligence, and relentless drive, a combination that makes opposing offenses nervous just hearing his name. Sources hint that the discussions have been ongoing behind closed doors, with Dolphins executives reportedly examining every aspect of Griffin's past performances, his health, and his readiness to come back from retirement. For those who followed Griffin with the Seahawks, it's no surprise that he brought both flair and grit to every snap. The story becomes even juicier considering his history with Miami. After all, Griffin spent part of 2021 on the Dolphins practice squad, and insiders now suggest that period gave both sides a glimpse of what could be possible if the connection were made permanent. Analysts are whispering that Griffin's work ethic, his speed, and his instincts could be exactly what the Dolphins need to solidify a defense that has struggled to maintain consistency. Add to this the familial angle. His twin brother Shaquille Griffin still commands attention in NFL circles, and the narrative almost writes itself, a duo that could once again dominate headlines together. Even casual fans have been captivated by Griffin's journey since childhood. Born in 1995, losing his left hand at just 4 years old, Griffin has turned personal adversity into an extraordinary platform for athletic achievement. The buzz is that the Dolphins recognize not just the physical talent, but the intangible qualities that make Griffin a unique asset: leadership, inspiration, and the ability to galvanize a locker room. Rumors circulating from the practice field suggest that coaches are already envisioning how his presence could change schemes, create mismatches, and inject a level of excitement into defensive drills that they haven't seen in years. From cornerback blitz packages to linebacker coverage rotations, Griffin's athleticism allows for a level of flexibility that makes even seasoned NFL strategists pause and rethink conventional approaches. The whispers are strong. Miami wants this player not merely as a piece, but as a potential catalyst for a defense that can terrify offenses from coast to coast. The Miami media landscape has picked up on the story with feverish intensity. Reporters hint that Griffin has been spotted around the Dolphins' facilities, not as a visitor, but potentially in a way that signals more than casual interest. The rumor carries weight because Griffin's prior stint with the Dolphins left a strong impression on coaching staff and teammates alike. Sources claim that even during practice squad sessions, his ability to read offenses, anticipate plays, and close gaps with unmatched velocity turned heads and generated conversations about his future viability. Fans are speculating that if Griffin officially returns, the Dolphins might be orchestrating a plan that stretches far beyond one season, a long-term vision in which he becomes a linchpin in both on-field schemes and off-field leadership initiatives. Every corner, every running lane, every quarterback under pressure could now face the specter of a Griffin blitz, and the buzz indicates that nobody is taking this lightly. Those close to the Dolphins' inner circle are reportedly excited about the marketing and morale implications of bringing Griffin back. The whispers suggest that beyond pure football strategy, Griffin's story is exactly the type of narrative that elevates a franchise's profile, energizes fans, and gives national media endless material to dissect. The speculation includes potential appearances, interviews, and community engagement initiatives that could surround his return, creating a buzz reminiscent of the Seahawks days, but transplanted into the vibrant Miami scene. Rumors hint at brainstorming sessions in which executives consider not just his on-field performance, but the holistic impact of having a player who embodies resilience, determination, and an infectious competitive spirit. The narrative being spun suggests that Miami may see Griffin as both a defensive weapon and a brand ambassador, an individual capable of drawing eyes, inspiring young athletes, and embodying the grit and excitement that the NFL craves in today's highlight-driven landscape. Adding fuel to the fire, insiders indicate that Griffin has reportedly been training in secret, away from public scrutiny, in a regimen designed to test both his strength and agility. This has fueled speculation that his retirement was not a permanent decision, but rather a pause, a strategic hiatus before returning with the goal of dominating a defense at the highest level. Observers note that his prior NFL experience, coupled with natural speed and a football IQ sharpened by adversity, could make his transition back seamless, or at least explosive. Rumors suggest that Miami's defensive coaching staff has already mapped out scenarios where Griffin could influence both run defense and pass coverage, effectively creating a hybrid role that confuses opposing quarterbacks. The chatter implies that if this signing comes to fruition, analysts may have to adjust their defensive rankings and projections to account for the presence of a player whose very name now carries an aura of unpredictability and instant disruption. Fans online have been dissecting every possible angle of Griffin's return. Social media speculation points to subtle signs: a glimpse at his old jersey, cryptic posts hinting at renewed training, and comments from former teammates that seem to intentionally tease the possibility. The rumor mill is relentless, and the buzz suggests that Miami could be orchestrating a return that's as much about storytelling as it is about tactical advantage. Conversations in forums and sports chat rooms revolve around potential matchups, the thrill of seeing Griffin back on the field, and the psychological edge his story could bring. Analysts, old coaches, and even rival team personnel are reportedly keeping a close eye on developments, trying to gauge whether this is a short-term stunt or a long-term strategic maneuver that could reshape the Dolphins' defensive identity for seasons to come. The intrigue deepens when considering Griffin's personal history with the Seahawks. Drafted as a fifth-round pick in 2018, he joined forces with his twin brother Shockwell, creating a dynamic duo whose chemistry was both instinctual and magnetic. Rumors suggest that Miami's front office has studied film meticulously, focusing on how Griffin's speed, timing, and anticipation disrupted offenses, and imagining how those same attributes could be leveraged in the AFC East. Internal chatter hints that coaches have even speculated on creative ways to maximize his strengths, designing blitz schemes and coverage rotations that make the most of his unique athletic profile. The narrative being circulated is not just about a comeback. It's about a strategic coup, a calculated gambit that could reinvigorate a defensive unit and set social media ablaze with excitement, discussion, and speculation for weeks before kickoff even arrives. Even the locker room dynamics are fueling whispers. Sources indicate that teammates have been in informal talks, expressing excitement at the prospect of Griffin's return. Rumors suggest that veteran players see him as a morale booster, someone who inspires by example, not just through words but through performance and resilience. The buzz extends to rookie players, who reportedly look at Griffin as a living example of overcoming adversity, a figure whose work ethic can push them to excel. Analysts and commentators hint that the psychological effect of his return could be as impactful as his on-field contributions, creating an environment in which every practice feels competitive and every game feels charged with anticipation. If these rumors solidify into action, Griffin's influence might extend far beyond defensive stats, shaping the culture of the Dolphins in ways that excite both media and fans alike. Financial speculation is also swirling around this potential move. Insiders are whispering that Griffin's return could involve innovative contract structures, perhaps performance-based incentives, designed to reward his impact while mitigating long-term risk. Rumors suggest that Miami executives are weighing every option, considering both the fiscal and reputational benefits of signing a player with Griffin's profile. Analysts are debating the return on investment, not just in tackles or sacks, but in social media engagement, merchandise sales, and the overall buzz-a-ritter of this magnitude could generate. The speculation is intense. A player with Griffin's story, skill set, and fan appeal could change not just the defensive playbook, but the entire ecosystem surrounding the team, creating a cascade of excitement that resonates far beyond the stadium and into the broader sports culture. Finally, the overarching rumor suggests that if Griffin does officially join the Dolphins, this move could redefine expectations across the league. Observers are predicting a flurry of coverage, from highlight reels showcasing his unmatched speed to analysts debating how opponents might adjust their strategies. The chatter in Miami hints that coaches envision him as a disruptive force, someone who can cover ground at astonishing rates, read offenses like a chess master, and inject energy into every defensive snap. The whispers are persistent and growing louder, claiming that this signing could be a masterstroke, a bold gamble that blends talent, narrative, and spectacle. Fans, media, and even rival teams are reportedly holding their collective breath, waiting to see whether the rumor transforms into one of the most talked-about defensive comebacks in recent NFL history, a storyline that feels almost too good to be true, but could very well dominate the headlines if it comes to fruition. That's a wrap for today's dive. If you're loving the content, share it with a fellow Dolphins fan, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a splash. Fins up.